Not everyone who votes for Trump is a racist, but every racist voted for Trump.
You stand up in the House floor and criticize without knowing what you're talking about.
They're on opposite sides of the same issue. I got a salad for a Democrat.
Pete's gonna have a Chardonnay.
But can a good meal help settle their beef? Come on now. 90% of the people, according to the polls in this country, say we need background checks. What is the problem? It's food for thought as guests agree to eat and argue. So the fringes are controlling the country.
Controlling the conversation.
As soon as we make a compromise, they call us a traitor.
So I'm gonna put both of your feet to the fire on this one. Immigration, gun control, race relations, you name it. Republicans and Democrats have never been more divided over the issues. Who's right? Republican Congressman Peter King and Democratic Congressman Tom Swazi sit down with me, Julian Phillips, at Hendrick's Tavern to dish out the facts. I can beat up on the Republicans, I can equally as well beat up on the Democrats. The one thing that I want to get at is the whole issue of truth. Biden had a gaffe about talking about his experiences in Afghanistan, pinning a silver star on a captain, and we found out that story wasn't true.
Can you think of how many misstatements and inaccuracies the president has? I mean, there's reports on it on a regular basis. They're holding Biden to a different standard than they're holding not only the president, but other candidates as well.
But they gave him a pass. The question is, why did he say it?
I think Tom would agree on this. You're in this business long enough, and events start to merge together. I think you should be more careful, but in the real world, it's easy to make those mistakes.
We can all agree there's one truth here. These steaks are pretty good, aren't they?
Excellent.
Okay.
Great.
I'd like to get some steak sauce, though.
These Democrats demand everything, you know?
Ridiculous.
I think that what's going on in our country is this is 435 seats in Congress. And of the 435 seats, 380 of them approximately are safe seats. You can't lose because they're gerrymandered. They're drawn in a certain way. The only way you can lose is by losing a primary. And very few people vote in the primaries. And they're usually the far right for the Republicans, the far left for the Democrats. So everybody's pandering to the extremes instead of doing the stuff in the middle to try and get deals done.
So the fringes are controlling the country.
Controlling the conversation.
It's a combination of the fringes being encouraged on by watching their own favorite TV station, by going to their own social media. So if you're hearing every day that Donald Trump is the most evil person, or that Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton are the most evil people, some people are going to act on that.
So it goes to the whole Martin Luther King phrase, sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
Okay, I haven't heard that one before. That
Okay,
sounds pretty
I'll go with
good.
that.
My deal is,
You've had a good deal your whole life, as long as I've known you, so.
I'm a Purdue Boilermaker. What do you want?
Go Irish.
Yeah, please, forget that.
Leadership, someone described to me once as being willing to disappoint your supporters at a rate they can absorb. So sometimes you can't just do, what everybody's yelling and screaming for. You got to try and find that common ground, as Peter said. When someone's at 100, someone's at 0, let's meet at 50 and let's get something done.
But we have a situation here now where people are getting killed in this country. People are buying into the whole thing where Trump is talking about immigrants, and you have a guy that travels like 8 hours across the state of Texas, and all of a sudden 31, 32 people are killed because they're riding on his words, they're believing what he's saying. All that is based upon a lie.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous, though, to connect statements like that with somebody killing 32 people. I mean, we have a lot of harsh debate in the country. I think some of it goes too far. To me, it's unfair to connect President Trump to that.
There's way too much hostility. There's way too much negativity. There's way too much divisiveness. And there's this hostility that's building in the country where everybody's like going into their separate camps. It's literally killing the country.
You two are good guys. I know
I would
you're
agree
back.
with that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, you are.
At least 50% I agree with that.
Well, look.
Like, I'll have a guy come up to me basically and say, you're doing nothing in immigration. I sit down with Tom, we work out a compromise. You're sold out. I mean, that's, so they want it, getting it done means doing it their way 100%. So we have
So what you do as a leader is you fall on the sword and you say, okay, you might consider me a sellout, but I think I'm doing the right thing. People need to understand that there's a certain truth about race and racism in this country. And we need you guys to get up there and say it. No matter what the consequences may be, we need it said. There's too much at stake now. Let's agree to that.
Yeah.
Salute.
Salute a tutti.
There you go. Salanta.
All right.